In the world of clicks and views, we got the tricks, ain't got time to lose. Kristina and Joe dropping knowledge non-stop for all you realtors. Climbing to the top. Grab your camera, let's make the tape. Content gold, no time to waste. From open house to renovation glory, YouTube secrets unfold your story. Build those leads with every post. Kristina and Joe, the ultimate hosts. Market trends and virtual tours. Turn those watchers into door knocking scores. Lights, camera, action, go live. Tips and tricks to help you thrive. Thumbnail magic, title spice. A clickbait charm, but a touch of nice. SEO game on point and tight. Comments buzz.
While that was playing, I was doing a little dance, a little jig.
You're always dancing or doing some kind of jig.
Got it. I like our little intro. Just
It's
FYI, don't ever do that for your videos. We do it because we're goofballs. We're geeks. We
do
can't help
what
ourselves.
we say, not what we do.
Yeah, we do that for our own entertainment. Don't ever put an intro like that on your stuff. do as we say, don't do as we do. Anyways, so today, what are we talking about today? We're going to be talking about, like, we've seen some posts this week. Some of you guys have been off track, a little off kilter. Been there myself, And a few of you are starting a brand new channel. Some of you don't even know if you should start another channel. So we're getting into all that today. Do we have any reviews this week?
Oh,
Yeah.
let's see. And if not, you know what I'll do is I'll paste a link in the group, and then they can fill that out if they want their channel reviewed.
Oh, okay, good.
I'll just do it in the comments of this live. So get your...
While you're doing that, I'm just going to say we're going to go through this in steps. So if you are like me and you've had a channel and you're kind of like, oh, I haven't been really doing anything. I forget who posted it, but somebody posted that they haven't been doing it for a while. They need to get back into the swing of things. This is what I would tell you to do first. The first thing I would say is open up your analytics. Like, this is where you need to go and look to see if anything is being watched today. Like, if anything is being watched in the last 48 hours, and what is that video? And then see if you can capitalize on that video that's been watched the last 48 hours. That's what I would tell you to do. What would you tell them to do? The first thing you would tell them to do?
Okay, I'm so sorry. I was making a post and I can't multitask. What was the question?
So I was saying, if you already had a channel, and you have, like, ignored it for a couple months, and you need to come back and get back into the swing of things, the first thing I tell you to do is open up your analytics and look at the video that's been popping off for the last 48 hours. And don't go to your top performing videos, blah, blah, blah. Don't do that. Just do the one that's getting views right at this moment. That would be if you're in that situation, that's what I would tell you to do.
Yeah. Especially if you haven't posted for a few months, then look and see which one out of the last 28 days or out of the last 30 days has the most current views, and remake that. Absolutely. And then we've also seen some stuff where people are, like, making posts. Well, I haven't posted for a while, or I'm throwing spaghetti against the wall. And that one made me laugh. I actually really like the graphic on it. So, like, it's one of those things. And, like, I think having a strategy, just like anything, you have to have a strategy. You can't build a house unless you have house plans, but you can't put a house on, a lot or anything until you have a good foundation. And so it's like understanding how YouTube works and having a good foundation for YouTube, and then being able to put a plan together to then work. And I know a lot of people are like, well, I've tried it and I did it and it didn't work. Or I did it and I didn't get the results I wanted. And then they fall off because they're busy doing their business. They're trying to get more leads. They're trying to sell more real estate. And what happens is they're missing the huge opportunity that is when you're consistent, and if you think of it as prospecting, but prospecting the right way, like if you only do flyers one time, or and you're like, that was a waste of money and I didn't get anything for it, like Yeah, because you're not consistent. You have to continually be consistent. This is just a more effective way of prospecting when you understand the basics of how YouTube works, and then putting that content out there, because you can reach so many more people than you can for the cost of sending out a flyer.
Well, and the other thing too is, um, and this helped me, and you know this, is that try to analyze what made you stop in the first place. Was it
Mhm.
because you were busy and you couldn't like you didn't have time? So now's the time, since you're going to get back into it, to figure out how to allocate those things to either somebody else or find time to book out your own time to get those things done. If it has to do with research, if it has to do with creating thumbnails, if it has to do with editing, what is it that like, oh, that just makes your stomach turn and you don't want to do it? My
Yeah.
thing is that I'm afraid to film myself.
Mhm.
There's no one else, there's no one that can help me with that. That's all my mental brain. But if it's, things that you can delegate to somebody else, that's right now is the time, because you're going to get back into it. Try to figure out and find those people to delegate those things to, but understand how you want them to do that. That's another snowball problem altogether. Don't just give it to them and say, do this. Show them how to do it. If you
Yeah.
need a thumbnail made and you're expecting Fiverr to know what creates good thumbnails, you're out of your mind. You have to train them to make sure that they understand what a good thumbnail is. If it has to do with editing, just don't throw it to an editor and expect miracles. They can only do within the parameters they know what to do. You have to train them to edit it as a good video. All these things take time, but I think for your own mindset, so you're not like worn out, train them so that way you don't have to do it anymore, and find someone to delegate that stuff to.
Yeah, I agree. Like, the thing is that but to your point, you need to know how this stuff works, because if they're asking you questions, you need to know how to respond to that. And if they're asking you like, hey, what kind of transitions do you want? Do you want jump cuts, or do you want like like a rolling B roll? Do you want like A roll? Like, what do you like? If they don't know what any of this stuff is, then it's going to be really confusing when you're asking them. And there is, like, if you're interviewing editors, ask them like, well, what kind of videos do you make? And if they're like, oh man, I make shorts, like I'm really good at making shorts, and you're making long form content, you may not want to use them as an editor for
Correct.
your long form. And the biggest reason why is because it's a totally different viewer. It's a different way of editing.
100%. Because I Joe and I have been testing out editors for quite some time now, and it always is like, oh, I'm really good at editing. Like, okay, and you throw them over something, and it's like whoosh, and I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
It's so like I don't even know how to explain it, but that's not what you do for long form. Sure, that's great for short form, but that's not going to be working in long form video. So just be aware of what you want. And the other thing I want you guys to pay attention to is, I want you to go into your analytics. Somebody brought this up, and this is a very good point, is that they've noticed, I think they said 76% of their audience was in on television. And so if you are a content creator and everybody's on your phone, the way that you would edit your videos would be different for that particular type of audience than someone that is watching it on television. So what the advice I'm giving to her and to anybody else that has this is, think about the avatar that's watching this on TV. So obviously they have always been a TV user, and they prefer television. They don't want to watch it on their phone. How is it that you can get into their heads and make it more television friendly for that particular viewer, where they feel like they're watching a show that they don't want to change the channel?
Yeah. And part of that is like being prepared when you make your content. And we talk a lot about understanding what your title is going to be, what your thumbnail is going to be before you even start filming your videos. And the reason why is because it helps you plan your video. And if you can't come up with a good thumbnail and a good title, then you may not want to make that video, because the whole idea is to get people to click and watch your content. The next thing is understanding, like, I know this sounds like a lot of work, but like once you understand it, it just starts becoming part of how you make content. But one of the things is being a good storyteller, basically telling people, like explaining things, because they're there to learn. So you have to understand, okay, the avatar that is watching your content, they're probably there because they have a need on, I'm looking to buy or I'm looking to sell, and I have questions. And what things help me get my house ready to buy or sell? And when you provide that information for them, and you give good information, and they've watched you for a while, pretty soon they're going to reach out to you and be like, hey, I've been watching you for a while and you give really good information. I'd really like to learn a little bit more. Could you help me find an agent that could do what you're telling us to do? And that's how referrals work with YouTube. And they're great because they already know, like, and trust you. And so when you refer them, they're like, oh yeah, like Kristina said to go here, so I'm going here. And a lot of agents don't realize that yes, it's like, well, how many leads are you getting? It shouldn't be the question. It's what value are you providing and what education are you giving? Because the leads will come because you're going to get more views because it's something that has helped somebody. And that's how you get the views. And when you get those views will translate into leads.
Yeah, and then anybody that tells you differently is telling you a ballin'.
Right.
Well, Ken Pozak made a very good post on his. He has a Facebook group for agents, and he posted a reel coming from Gary. You know, Gary Vaynerchuk.
Yeah.
Okay, and so a lot of times people will say, you know, like, I don't understand, why is my content not working? Why am I not getting views? You know, the algorithm hates me. You know? And you have to get away from that. Like Gary said it perfectly. The algorithm is not some magic robot in the sky. You know, it's people. So
People.
if nobody's watching your content, or the few that are watching only watching for a little bit of time, that means your content sucks. Unfortunately, I'm sorry. So maybe, you know, for you to get back in it, to win it, and you want to get more leads, really start paying attention to some of the videos that did really well on your channel, and pay attention to the videos that did really, really bad. What is it that you said at the beginning of that video that made people just go, you know, get out of there? It wasn't that you did a stupid intro like we did. You know, what was it? Was it that, you know, like, start paying attention to those things so that way you can improve and then get more views, and that way you're getting more leads. All these things, if you have more eyeballs on your content, that means you're going to have more people calling you. I've heard this over and over again where people say, a viral video doesn't mean anything. You know, it doesn't mean anything if you didn't do it right. You're right. If you did a viral video and it didn't bring you leads, it's because you did something in that video that didn't bring them leads. Your calls to action weren't there. You didn't provide enough value. It was mainly entertaining, but it didn't want them to reach out to you. You're going to have to be the content creator that has that viral video that gets people calling you. You know, when our student Jackie Baker had that viral video, she had so many leads coming in. She was like, she almost had like she was having panic attacks. She had so many coming in, she didn't know what to do. She didn't know how to handle how many people were coming in at that specific time. I want that to happen for every single person, but you have to create the right kind of content. Viral videos can be a gold mine, and to say that will help your channel is absolutely ridiculous and silly. So don't listen to that advice. You of course you want viral videos, because the more views that are on your content, the more you're going to get more people calling you.
Yeah. And you're talking about real estate. So it's like one of those things that, you know, it's one of those things that, like, in the moment that person needs what you're providing and they watched it. And so, yes, they're going to reach out to you. But the biggest thing I think people need to look at is when they go to YouTube, they're going there to either learn something, they're going there to have like a disconnect from like what's going on with their life, or, you know, they're trying to get away, or they're like, there's very specific reasons, and people will spend a lot of time on there So they get to know you, and they get to like go, oh man, I like what content you're putting out. And so then they know, like, and trust you. And
Mhm.
it kind of goes to this point that I have a 10 million view Instagram reel that had nothing to do with real estate.
That sucks. I had
Yeah.
a video that was like viral for me, and it was about dog pee.
Yeah. And you're like,
It was
great.
about dog pee.
I don't want to be that person. And so it's like, yeah, you have those things, but there's something in that reel maybe that you could look at and go, what elements got them? Was it a good hook? Did they, which with the reel, it probably was a really good hook or something that brings them in. But one of the things that we talk a lot about, and we're really focusing on with our students, is becoming better storytellers and
Mhm.
sharing examples, because people are on YouTube. A lot of them are watching on their TVs, and they're replacing the traditional, programming that's going on. I'm going to share my screen here for a second. I want to show
No,
you.
Joe, you can't
I
share.
totally am, but I'm going to show this. So this is one of our students, and she posted this, and it's super inspiring to see like what a good storytell will be. So can you see it by
Mhm.
chance? Okay, so this is a
Ooh.
24-minute YouTube video.
Mhm.
This 24-minute video, the average view duration is 10 minutes and 32 seconds.
That's fantastic.
That is incredible. They have 72% of the viewers are still watching around that mark. So her hook was great.
Mhm.
There's probably a few little things that could
Yeah, I
be
was gonna say
tweaked.
there's some room for improvement, that's for sure, but once they stayed on the whole
They
way,
watched the whole time. And then,
all the way to the very end. Like she did great.
yeah. And then I'm going to show you one other one right here. She put on here too. So then they've got here, you look at her engagement for this video compared to her other ones,
Mhm.
and it went through the roof because she started talking more about like experiences that she has as an agent,
Mhm.
and her personalizing her message rather than just reading a script that ChatGPT wrote. Like
Oh, good call.
she's really saying this: when should you never sell, I don't know, the rest of your house,
Mm,
most likely. Okay. But
mhm.
those two things, the audience retention and like, I mean, it's like really, really good. Yes, there's a little bit of a hiccup that she can work on, but I mean, if you look at the overall engagement of that, it's pretty incredible. And that's like
Mhm.
one of the things that we talk a lot about, is going in and looking to see what's working and what isn't. If you're flatlining and people are leaving, then just like Kristina says, you're boring or your content sucks. Like, you've
Mhm.
got to change how you do it. And a lot of people think, well, I just need to be more proactive with editing, and I need to have more swishes, or I need to have more of this or that and make it more lively. That might be why they're leaving. So,
Yeah.
so you need to look at it and say, okay, what is it that, where am I losing? And what's awesome about YouTube is you can go in and look at every video after it's been on there for a minute, and you can see a
What
lot
they
of analytics to really make your content better just from your own stuff.
Mhm. I
So
concur. Hiring editors is the worst.
She
It's
she told me. Yeah. She's
uh,
like, she hates it. She's like, "I've been fighting with my editors," but she did tell me, she was like, "This video, when I put out," she's like, "I changed the way I'm doing my story." And she's like, "I am so excited to see how it works." And so she posted that in our group, and she's like, "It totally worked. Like, it's my best retention video so far."
mhm. Yeah.
So,
That's what, uh you can't replace a human, right? You can't.
yeah.
The AI is a tool to help you. Like AI thumbnails, it's a tool to help you. It's not meant to replace you. And as much as companies want it to be replaced, and they think that they can use all this AI imagery to sell products and stuff, like, it's people are getting wise to what they're doing, and they're like, oh, is this all AI imagery? Like, nothing burns my audience up more than anything. And I say it in every single video. like that AI service. I'm like, it's an AI robot. She's super mean. You can leave her a message. And I still get that call, that answer that says, is this AI? I say it every
You're like, I
video.
told you it was. Like,
I
what?
told you it was AI. And people don't like that. So
Yeah.
it's a tool for you to help you. It isn't meant to replace you. And don't let it replace your audience either. You know, like, don't get lazy and do that. And the other thing I know that's been going around recently, and I know that if you've been stuck, you're like, oh, this sounds like a great idea, is to do like an AI faceless channel. So you use like an
Yeah.
AI voice, and then you just use a bunch of B-roll, and then you have like, you're just doing it just to do it. It's honestly a time waster. No one's going to watch that.
Yeah,
So
not for real estate, you
no.
know. If you may be able to do something like that, like that, and monetize it for something that's like about, you know, very interesting things that have to do with
Mm,
like things that are going on, but real estate is not that interesting. It's not one of those things where people are going to be like, "Oh, I can just sit here and listen to AI talk to me." What they want is they want people to educate them on a problem that they have, or a question that they're looking to solve, or they're trying to understand something about something that affects them, and they're going to YouTube. And a lot of people now will go there for anything. Like, they literally will go search up, okay, how do I reset my, I did this the other day, how do I reset my like lift gates on my wife's car, because they reset the thing with an oil change and they forgot to go so
reset
that it'll do automatic,
the
right?
button.
So so what I do, I'm like on YouTube watching a video on how to do it. Someone made a video. So I'm like, yeah, people do that. You know, that's so, and they do the same thing with real estate.
Mm-hmm. But you shouldn't depend on all your traffic to be search traffic, because you're
Right.
limiting yourself. If you do that and you're only looking for search traffic, you're limiting the possibility of being found even more. Uh,
Right.
you know,
Yep.
like I'm not saying search traffic doesn't work. And of course you should do that at the very beginning when you're starting a channel, but you have to figure out to spread your wings much further than that. Cause that's why you end up stuck at 100 or 200 views per
Yep.
video. Cause you're
And then it
only doing search.
flatlines.
Yep. And yep. Because you're only doing search. And like people say, well, I'm on the top of Google. I'm like, today, tomorrow
Yeah.
you won't be.
Yeah. And the thing is it's like, you like, if you do it correctly, and if you really put the effort into making good content, then YouTube knows who those people are that are looking for that, and it'll just serve it up to them. They don't even have to search for it. It just shows up on their homepage.
Mhm. I'm gonna put a little banner at the bottom for if you want a review. Do we have any reviews today?
I didn't see any that came in. So we did a couple last week that we had, but I haven't seen any today. So
I'll put your link in the chat. I'm putting it in here. Okay. The other thing too is like, you know, how do you get back on track? How is it that you can like really think about, you know, doing content again? Because, you know, again, the spaghetti against the wall. That's what
mhm.
people think. Well, I know that this has changed, but a lot of people think that their niche is the location that they live in. And I want you to not think of it as the location you live in. Yes, that's where you want to sell houses. Yes, I get that. But there is, with YouTube, it's just like anything on television. When you go to ESPN, you're not looking for baking recipes. You want to be very specific on your content that you're creating for your real estate channel in your location. Meaning that, like, are you a buyer's agent? Are you a seller's agent? Are you an agent for land? Are you an agent for relocation? Like, focus in on that, and then really start diving into that person. And that's the kind of content you need to start creating. And think outside of the real estate niche, because there's other things out there that you can learn a lot from. You can watch other YouTube channels that do not relate to real estate, but might relate to the person that would be looking for stuff in your area. So if it's about hiking or whatever, see what else is popular out there to relate to your avatar and your niche in real estate, and combine those things so you can make really good content.
Yeah.
It's there's more to making content for, real estate. I was the queen of spaghetti against the wall. If it was about HOAs, if it was about covenants, if it was about condos, if it was about inspections, if it was about closing costs. I mean, I made every video under the sun that related to real estate, but nothing focused in on one specific niche. I was making real estate content for everybody, but
Yep.
it was like baking content for nobody, because I wasn't talking to one specific person. So you really need to focus in on that person in order to be able to collect lots of people just like them.
But a lot of people think, I think they think, well, if I go so narrow, I'll run out of things to talk about. And if I do that, I'm not going to be able to be creative and to do the things that I need. And it's actually the opposite that happens. You actually become more of an expert on the stuff because you're actually learning more about it, so that you can share more of that stuff. And that's why people that do land only do land, that are really good at it. They do land. And they know everything about it though. And so when they talk about things, people listen because they're like, oh yeah, that person knows everything about land. Or if you do, like relocation, and it's like the best places to relocate to from, whatever, like, but as you focus on whatever it is, whatever niche you're looking at, whether it's any of those that Kristina, that you mentioned, you just have to focus on it. And as you focus on it, it becomes, like I always say, like what you focus on expands. So you're focusing on that, and it becomes, there's just so much more. Now you might have to be creative, but you have to like look at a way to like say, okay, what is it that I can spend more time talking about? That's a great question, by the way.
Yeah. She says, what if you work with both buyers and sellers and it's almost 50-50? Who gets more referrals, buyer agents or sellers agents? Okay. So my focus on my channel is for people trying to find and buy the most affordable housing option they can. Right.
Yeah.
So what happens is, with the referrals that I get, a lot of people are downsizing, or they're trying to find a piece of land. So I get buyer and seller referrals all the time, but I still stay focused on trying to find a buyer the most affordable housing option that is possible for them to get onto the real estate ladder. I stay focused on that, even though I get referrals on everything.
Yeah. I mean, it goes back to like real estate in general. You can have a channel very specific to just one niche. And when people reach out, they may reach out because they have questions on that, but then they're also like, well, you know what? I've also been thinking about this. And then it's like, or I've got to do this before I can do that. And so it really comes down to like what kind of content you can make. And if you can make good content and it's enough that they feel like, oh, I trust this person, like they know what they're talking about. It's like any other referral, just that they're already sold on you. So it's not so much you trying to sell yourself, it's just trying to figure out how you can help them. And so I don't think that it matters if it's more buyers or sellers. It's what content are you making that is getting more views. And if you have a niche that you're making the content about, and you have a very specific avatar in mind that you're making it for, then those types of referrals will come through. And then it really doesn't matter if it's a buyer or seller, it's a lead.
Right. Listing channels have grown in popularity with agents. It used to be only a few agents would do them. And what do you think about broadening your audience for listings, even though you're only focused in on one area? Do you think that there's room for that to even go viral? Do you think that's a good plan to try to go viral with those listings?
Are you asking me?
Yeah.
I think so. I think that, listen, but it would be more of like, maybe it's getting your home ready to sell, kind of like what Jen's doing, right? Where it's like, like your avatar is someone that's selling, and you're giving them home tips on how to get your home ready to sell, or what to put to fix your home, as opposed what not to, because of things that will cost money that you'll never recoup, as opposed to getting things that you can get the most bang for your buck. I think there's a lot of people in that situation that would look to go, how could I get just a little bit more money out of my house? What could I do to get it ready, especially if it's something that they've lived in for a while, to sell? I definitely think that there's many opportunities that it could open up to go viral. Absolutely.
The thing that I've learned, though, from the people that I've examined as far as those listing channels, the ones that seem to be getting the most leads from are the ones that have a sprinkle of themselves in the video. Even some of them don't even show their face, but they're going through the whole entire tour. But they'll, like, maybe once or twice during the stream, they'll show their face.
They'll interrupt to show themselves.
Yeah, show themselves just a little bit. The ones that are just solely, walking through the house and you never hear them, they don't have a lot of commentary during that. They don't seem to get as
unless they're like ultra luxury, right?
Right. But I don't know anybody personally.
No, neither do I. I'm just saying, like, you see these guys that'll go all over the world and they'll do like a home tour. It's like that.
But they're doing that for the money. They're doing that for a different thing.
That's what I'm saying. Like, they're doing it because they know that they are going to get a lot of views on YouTube and they're going to get AdSense or whatever. But to your point, for a real estate agent, it really is more about, like, if you're doing a home tour channel, you really do have to pepper yourself in there for sure. Right. I don't know if I would ever, I just don't think I could do that, because that would just be, for me, it would just be too boring. Like, I would have to do like more of a talking head and more like feel like I'm educating someone.
Right. Well, I did it for my listings back in the day, but I had a voiceover guy that did it.
Yeah. And so, like, listen, I've done it too. And it's, you get some comments or whatever, but for me personally, I feel like if you're going to YouTube, unless you're watching like those ultra luxury, tours that are just like, you're watching because they're just so stupid. You're like, they're like, what? Like, we have some of those in the parade of homes here in St. George. We got like a $10 million home right now. They've got a pool that's $2 million. The pool is $2 million. Like, it's like 20,000 square feet. Like, if someone did a tour of that, it would take, probably 40 minutes to do. I'm sure people would watch it, right? And be like,
they would, though.
This is insane. Like, this is insane. But, like, is it enough for them to reach out and be like, I want to buy that? No. So it's more of like they're just doing it for the entertainment side.
Exactly.
So if you're doing like actual tours, I think you have to pepper in so that they get to know you.
Yep. She said that she's narrowing down niche, and avatar is so hard. Yeah, in our course, we have a whole section about that. That's why we focus on it for so long, because it is so vitally important to getting your channel launched and relaunched in a correct way. So I think there's a big difference for a seller strategy, because I think of all of the people that will watch improvement channels. Exactly. For sellers, it would be a completely different niche. It is a completely different niche. And that's why that when you see people, they're doing these videos that have nothing to do with buying a home, and then you start throwing in 10 home improvements that help your home sell. It's like, well, I was looking for stuff about FHA loans, and another thing to think about is that when you're like, if you're a buyer's channel, are you a first-time buyer's channel, or are you a seasoned buyer's channel? Like, those two people are completely different. Like, the person that's, a seasoned agent or a seasoned buyer doesn't need to hear about, the newest FHA loan requirements. They don't give a crap about that. They already have them.
And people will say, like, well, does it really matter? I mean, now you're just getting into like the really nitty gritty. Like, it doesn't matter. And the thing is it does matter.
It does matter.
Like, it would be like you having a conversation, or us having a conversation, and I have my avatar, let's say it's a home buyer, and then all of a sudden I start asking them questions about selling their home. Like, that confuses them, Because they're like, I'm not selling my home, I'm buying a home. No, well, let me tell you about why you should sell your home. And let me tell you why you need to do that. And they're like, you're not listening to me. Like I want, and that's what you're doing to the algorithm. When you make content, when they say spaghetti against the wall, it's because the algorithm has no idea who to show your video to. Because in one video, it's you're the home buying expert. The next one, you're the listing expert. The next video, you are a community tour expert. The next one, you do new construction. And so all of a sudden people are like, I am getting no traction on my channel whatsoever. YouTube hates me.
Oh, I know.
And it's like, no, it doesn't hate you. It just doesn't know who to show your content to because you confused it.
Yep. Yep. And that, like, I remember years ago, and the great Daryl Eves said, he's like, what are you doing? This is spaghetti against the wall. And I go, what do you mean? What am I doing? This is all about real estate. Everything's about real estate. And he's like, you got these videos up here that are, about, how like mini houses and stuff. And then he's like, then what's this one about? What's the dog pee? I'm like, well, if you're selling your home, you don't want to have, like, some people have dogs and it smells like pee. So I made a video. He's like, yeah, that's a top performing video. I mean, do you want to spend the rest of your life talking about dog pee? And I'm like, well, no, like, no, I don't. And he's like, okay, like, you have to focus in. You have, I'm like, at first I was like, he doesn't know what he's talking about. He's just another guru that doesn't know what he's talking about. My channel's about real estate. That's my niche. Everything related to real estate. Well, that's dumb. I learned really quickly that was dumb. If you're really good at the finance part of real estate, stay within the finance part of real estate. There is a lot to be made there with clients, and like, engineers love that stuff. There's a guy that on YouTube here, and his content is very I would say, like, just above blue collar worker kind of guy. And he walks around with a stick and sunglasses and a wife beater shirt. And he's talking all the things real estate. He has identified his avatar. He knows exactly who he's making content for. And he talks to that person every time he's creating content. And he's a genius. And if anybody else tries to copy him, it does not work, because they have not identified their audience. They have not identified who they're speaking to. That's why it worked for him, because he was smart enough to figure it out. Like, oh, I make these people engage with it. Yeah. And these are my people. So I'm going to continue to make stuff that I know that they care about. Yeah.
Guaranteed it was not an accident. Maybe the first one was, but the thing is that because you can tell that it's very similar, like, on all of his stuff, because he knows that's what his audience likes. And because YouTube does give you analytics and it lets you see what, like, what your content is doing and what it's not doing, like, you really can grow your channel if you study the stuff that you're putting out and realize, okay, what is it that's doing well? What is it? But if you're just doing a video to put a video out and you're not actually planning it, and you're not actually looking at who your avatar is, what your niche is, then you're not really going to succeed, because or I shouldn't say you're not going to succeed. It will just take a long time, like, for you to figure out who's going to do what. And you might burn out before that, because you're like,
this
I'm
doesn't
not
work.
getting any views. It's not working. I'm going to go do something else that's easier, and it's going to be better. And you go on to the next shiny thing. Yeah. And I think that's what happens and it's human nature. Like, when you put effort into something, even though it's like effort, it may not be the right way of doing it. And because of that, you deal with the results, and the results are, I didn't really get maybe a couple hundred views, maybe 50 views, who knows? Like, but it's not one of those where you're like all motivated and then you're like, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and make another video because I got like 2 minutes of watch time and no comments and no thumbs up, no interaction at all.
I was thinking about this while you were talking. A lot of people too think that the real estate niche itself, all of it is oversaturated. Like they're like, oh, there's already 5 agents in my area that are on YouTube, so I can't capitalize on that because they've already oversaturated the market. Well, I mean, if you were to move into a new area and you were a brand new agent and there was a bunch of other seasoned agents selling houses in your area, do you think there's no possibility for you to be able to be a successful agent in that area because there already is 5 other real estate agents in the area? Do not think of that. That is, Joey said, scarcity mindset. You can't have that scarcity mindset. If you are there, it is such an open football field of possibilities on YouTube. There is no oversaturation. It is impossible. Anybody at this moment could literally pick up their camera and make a video that sends their channel to the moon. Anybody can do it. You just really need to figure it out. You have to really spend time with yourself saying, who do I want to talk to as my audience? I understand that it feels like, oh, I should have started this 5 years ago. But no other time to start is now. I mean, sitting there talking about it is not getting you anywhere. We have students, and I'm not lying when I tell you this, that have taken our course when we first started and has yet to release a video.
Yeah.
And it's like, you got to stop questioning yourself.
And you got to
do it. Implement all the things that you think are going to work, because the only way to know if those things are going to work is to test them and put them out there. Don't talk yourself out of it. The easiest thing to do is not to do it. Yeah. So
I just did a quick search. I did a quick search to see how many active daily users there are on YouTube.
Yeah.
It says 122 million people access YouTube daily through website and mobile apps, and an additional 10 million users engage with live content on YouTube every day. Live streams. They're moving away from traditional stuff like we've been talking about.
They do like the live streams. They even watch them afterwards, which was bizarre to me. I couldn't do it. But she said living in Omaha says, I've heard from a couple coaches that a niche is who, not what, i.e. downsizers, first-time home buyers. Yes, that makes sense. But I want you to understand that even though your niche is what, understand the who, because that downsizer is somebody completely different. Like a downsizer that has a medical condition is a different than a downsizer that is like rolled into $1 million and now wants to buy a smaller house so they can live on the Poconos or whatever. I don't know, but you have to really understand who your avatar is. I have my avatar. I call him Frank. And I know how old he is. I know what his pain points are. I know what his fears are. I know what his political affiliation is. I know everything about him because I'm always combing through my comments and I understand who that is. And so I'm only talking to that person in the camera, even though there's hundreds of thousands of Franks across the country. And a lot of people don't look at it that way. They think that they have to talk to everybody. And when you're trying to talk to everybody, you're talking to nobody.
Yeah. What people don't realize is out of that 122 million, how many Franks are there that are watching? And that's what we're teaching. And that's why we harp on having a niche, one, and then two, the avatar, like who that person is, because when you know who that person is, it's almost as if you're having a conversation with that person. And you know, like what their pain points are, what their things are. And then as you talk about those things, it resonates with people that are dealing with that. And that's what YouTube looks at and says, okay, well, we know where they're at. We know their age. We know their demographic. We know everything about them. So let's go ahead and send this information to them because it resonates with people that already that fits that type of a person. And that's why views go big.
But that's why when you get them as a lead or you get them on the phone, you are like, that's why they feel like they're so connected to you, because you've already established that relationship through the
Yeah,
screen.
they get me. They
They
understand
they
me.
get me, they understand me, and that's when they're like, just like you said in that video, "Oh, I'm so glad that you said this because that's exactly what I've been going through." They say that because they feel like you understand them, so that's why they're so keen to work with you because you're on the same page as them because you created this content that helps them.
Yeah, and when you have a video that takes off like that, um, then you need to be looking at a way to make a video similar to that. Give it some time, 3 or 4 weeks, probably 4 weeks at least. And as you have that time that it's sat there and it's able to like really, really like go into the YouTube algorithm, and then you make another content that's very similar to that, it's going to pop off even more. What is that?
It's Biggie Smalls, man. It's Biggie Smalls.
But that's the thing is you're so funny. You need to create the content, and as if it took off, people were like, well, I already made that video. Like that's the one thing. It's like, I already made that video, so no one's gonna watch it. Yeah, you already made that video, but you have a whole new audience of viewers that are gonna watch it that didn't see the one before that. So you have like a way to capitalize on that.
And then I want to just point this out. The reason I did this and it got him off kilter for a minute.
And you're freaking
Two-
re-engaging.
Yes. So there's two things. So first of all, it was a pattern interrupt to what we were talking about. So immediately made you stop and listen and go, what the hell was that about? Right. So
Yeah.
it made you re-engage into the content that we were talking about. You should be doing that in your videos too. I just thought I throw that little tidbit in there.
Thanks for not telling me.
Yeah. Well, but that's what made it engaging, right? Because
but it's so true. Like that's the thing is like when you create those moments, and there's things that like you can do that will get people to go, oh my gosh, and that's where you'll see that spike in your view, and they'll go back and rewatch it because like, did she just put like Biggie Smalls in front of the screen or whatever it is?
Yeah, there's a content creator that I watch all the time, and it's not Biggie Smalls, but they have this thing that in everything single shot that it's the same, this one little thing, and then somebody says, did you not notice? And then everybody else is talking about that thing that's in their videos that's always there, always every single video that's always there, and it's like a community thing that they love to find out where it's at in every scene. For myself, I did a video a year ago, or no, it's more than a year. Anyways, I was in a tiny home and I wanted the shot to be for me to be coming down the stairs. Well, the stairs were like this, they were super steep. So I'm coming down the stairs too slow. And if I had done that as a clip at the same speed, it would have been too long. So I just went ahead and sped up the speed. So it looks like I'm going. Yeah, so people rewound that several times. Like you'd see this big spike of people going, "What the hell was that?" And it was just me running down the stairs.
Like running down the stairs like really fast.
Boom! And I was like, "Oh, that was interesting." Just speeding it up just a little bit, So if you were like, for instance, walking towards the camera instead of just walking towards the camera, like take that clip and speed it up a little bit, so that way you're like, "Woo, hi," like you're Superman.
Yeah, that's funny.
Oh, you just listened to Daryl Eve's book. I'm in that book, by the way.
Yeah, you are. I'm in that book too. When you watch where he erases my how to milk a cow video for his SNL, yeah, that was me.
Yeah, good times. Brothers are love.
Yeah, yeah, it's good, I guess.
Look, I can move myself over on this side. I'm going to move me I'm going to see if I can do it. Do you think I can?
I don't know. Let's try it. Another pattern interrupt. Get ready. I'm going to be like sideways.
I guess I can't. It won't let me do it. Dang it, Jim. Let's see if I can do it this way. Oh, you know what? While we were talking about pattern interrupts, people will ask me, should they do live streams? And all of our students that do live streams will tell you that that's the number one way they get leads.
Yep.
That's the number one way they get leads.
It is a little bit hard in the beginning to do because what we tell them is you got to talk for at least an hour.
Mm-hmm.
Look at that. You got it to switch.
I got
So
this.
you have to do it for at least an hour. And the reason why, I mean, there's a lot of reasons why, but the main reason is because that's what the algorithm needs to get the data to push out. They're like, okay, this person's going, and their goal is to keep people, on the platform for as long as possible. So, but I was going to say, it can be really hard to do a live stream by yourself. So having someone like a co-host that does pattern interrupts, makes it a lot easier.
It says, do you need X amount of subscribers before you go live? If you have a third-party software, I think it's still that you can have as many subscribers as you like. It isn't necessary. I think, or maybe it's 100. I think it's 100 subscribers, something like that. Maybe I'll look it up.
I don't even think you need 100.
Yeah,
I think you can. All you have to do is have your channel verified, and then
it.
and then you can then run like, for example, StreamYard, like what we're using. As long as it's verified, you can run it with zero subscribers.
Yeah, and like we're not saying like verified with a check mark. That's what like I have. That's not what I'm talking
not
about.
that.
We're talking in your YouTube. It will say you need to verify, and then you'll have to give your ID. They'll ask for your ID, the front and back. They'll ask for a couple other things to verify that you're a real person doing this channel before you can go live. But I don't even think you need it used to be you needed 1,000 subscribers and I think 10,000.
You don't now, but it's but it could definitely have changed. But I think that the thing is that like, if you've never done a live stream, get started on it, because you'll get, like, the best part is no one's probably going to watch for the first handful that you do. So you can make all your mistakes, do all your things. You can add certain things to it, like to really make it like an interactive and fun show. And with live stream, there's a lot of StreamYard. There's a lot of really cool things you can do with it. But ultimately, you want to have like something that you're prepared. And I would prepare for longer than an hour, just because some of the stuff you're going to be like, oh, I can get through this and it'll take me at least that long. And then you do it in 5 minutes and you're like, well, I had that scheduled for 15 minutes and now I'm going to be cutting it short.
I'm trying to see I'm trying to find a channel that actually has this, but a lot of people don't utilize it and they probably should. And that is, your community page.
Yeah.
And that's one of those things you should be utilizing. I'm trying to find somebody that actually has a community page. Everybody I'm clicking on doesn't have one. I'm looking for one, because what happens is that once you start getting an audience, or even if you don't have an audience, you create these posts just like you would on Facebook or Instagram, and it creates another form of engagement, but it also allows you to poll your own audience to see what they're interested in, right? So if you're thinking and you're not 100% sure if they're really interested on knowing what the interest rates are this week, you make a post like that. Are you interested in the interest rates this week? To get the correct answer, participate in the poll, and then you can like have a little poll question, and then they can click on the answers and stuff. And if you barely get anybody answering that, well, then you realize they don't care about that. But if you get a ton of people answering, you're like, well, maybe I need to do a video about interest rates then. It's a way to kind of re-engage with your audience without having to create a video.
Yeah.
Not enough people do it.
Well, and the other thing, going along with what you said, is you can cover, even if your niche and your avatar is something about first-time home buyers, but you want to talk about latest trends or things that are going on in the real estate industry, the live streams where you can kind of like break away from some of that and talk more about what the headlines are or what the things that people are dealing with that may not necessarily, fit with your regular content.
Now it says it posts instead of community page. It says posts. They must have changed the name of it.
Yeah, it used to say community. It say community in the YouTube studio? I swear it still says that in the studio.
Right, but on the actual channel, it says posts.
Oh yeah.
They
must have just updated that.
Yeah, let me show you. So obviously he doesn't do this all the time. 7 months ago, but he does little posts. See, he does this thing where he asks people questions and stuff. Yeah. People don't use it enough, and you really can learn a lot from doing it. Let's see if Danny Gonzalez does it. Let's see his posts. Good old Danny. Yeah, he does one.
Yeah, 2 months ago.
He's selling merch. He's asking questions. Yeah. Do not, and this is a warning, do not start posting like your videos in the community part.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Yeah. They already know your video's there.
Yeah. I've seen people do that. They're like, oh, I use my community page to promote my videos. I'm like, you have YouTube. That's what promotes your videos.
You know, that brings up another thing. We should probably come up with like best practices, like quick guide or something like that. Because there is one thing that like a lot of people want to share their video that they made on YouTube in their newsletter, or they want to share it in a like a email campaign, and they want to send it out, or they want to put it on to social networks. And so it's like yes, you can do it, but there's a way of doing it. And so maybe let's talk about that just for a minute. Those, especially if you haven't done YouTube for a while, you're starting and you're wanting to get engagement, and you're like, I'm just going to send it because I got a list of 2,000 people that I've collected over the last 10 years. I'm going to send them my new video. What do you say to that?
Well, not the new one. Right. Use your old, don't do the new one. Let YouTube do its YouTube thing. But the old content, like if you haven't done it for a hot minute, but you have some good content that's like evergreen, for God's sakes, go ahead, make a really great blog post, email blast that out. And especially if you're going to be making more content on those videos, right? So if you're going to be doing more relocation type videos and you have one that did really well, but you never made a blog post, go ahead and do that now. Make a blog post for that video, that old video, and now update that video for your new content strategy. So that way the old people can get back in and get re-engaged, and your new people can see your newer content. Like that's what I would do. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's a great suggestion.
Yeah, it's a great way to kind of like help kickstart your channel again. So you could do those blog posts, you could do an email blast. You can start getting together your new content strategy. You can start understanding your avatar, really niche down. Remember, your location is not your niche. I mean, these are great things to do. There are some best practices, but never, ever, 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 ever take a brand new video and put it in a blog post. Do not take a brand new video and put it in a newsletter. Do not do that and start doing email. Don't do any of that. Leave it alone. Do not share it to other social media sites. Leave it alone. Let it do its YouTube thing. That's why YouTube is there. Let it do that thing. But old content, please do have at it.
So let's talk about, so that they know what old content means compared to new content.
3 months old. Yeah, like anything that's over 90 days.
Yep. So you have no problem sending that stuff out, but if you want people, there's a reason why Kristina is saying not to put your new content there, is because we're trying to help you guys remove the spaghetti against the wall and have clean analytics so that you know exactly who's watching your stuff. Hey, it's Eddie.
Eddie says that's a great idea.
Yeah, he would say something like that.
Oh, yeah, man. All right.
So my beard, Eddie, look at that. I got to dye it again. It's like turning gray.
Those are glitter strands. So look, we talk about all of this at nauseum on our course. If you're interested in being a part of our course, we are in the 4th week now. So if you wanted to start for the next group, we'll be starting that up in about 4 more weeks. You can go ahead to go to realestatevideogeeks.com. You can start signing up. If you wanted to go ahead and sign up today, that'd be awesome. You can even start today if you wanted to, but most people want to start from day one. There are a couple students in this chat right now, and they'll tell you it's intense. It's an intense 8 weeks, but it's more than just the 8 weeks. You get advanced training after the 8 weeks as well. And once you're a geek, always a geek. So once you've gone through it for the first 8 weeks and you didn't get it, which many people do, they'll go through it many, many, many times. And you can
go through it as many times as you want.
Yep. You can go through as many times as you want. And somebody pointed out last week, they were like, how come you never talk about how many leads your people get? I look at it like this. I teach you how to get the leads in there. I'm not going to sit there and be like, she got 67 leads from this specific video, because the way you connect with your audience with this same exact video, it will not produce you the same exact results. There is not a cookie cutter replacement of everything. It could be literally the same exact video, the same exact editing style, the same exact words coming out of my mouth. But if it didn't come from my heart and it wasn't meant for my audience, that video is going to bomb.
Yeah. And honestly, it really comes down to, like, just like real estate, things ebb and flow. So you're going to get leads differently at different times. And it's it's just how it goes. But I will say this, we have multiple students that they're like, we have so many leads, we have a whole new problem. We created more work for ourselves, and we help them with workflows in handling and managing those leads. So it's not out of the realm of possibility for anyone watching right now to get more leads than you know it. And the thing is, you can go look at on the register for free channel review. Watch Jackie's, watch Jen's, like watch Steph's, like their video. They have testimonials. They're like, we'll tell you we'll say whatever you want. You have helped us so much. And so the thing is the reason they're getting as many leads is because they listened to what we said and then they did the hard work. We're not the ones that did it for them. They made the decision, I'm going to do it. Jackie almost quit. If Kristina hadn't reached out to her and said, hey, you can't quit, join our course. And she's now like, I'm so glad. I swear, every time we talk to her, she's like, I'm so glad. I'm so busy, but I'm so glad that I didn't quit.
Yeah. Yep. And that's the whole thing. Like, it doesn't matter. She quit for a period of time on YouTube. And if you have quit for a period of time on YouTube, it isn't too late. You can dial it back in. You can bring it back in. And it's everything that Joe and I have said in this live stream is what we teach in this course. And it's not impossible to get as many leads as Jackie, or as many leads as Jen, or as Steph, or as other students of ours. It isn't too late. That was the whole point of this. I don't want anybody to feel like the ship has sailed. You didn't get in time, and now you can't do it. That's not the case whatsoever. It is an open football field. So I just want everybody to do well. That's my I always tell every single student, I want you to cream my views. I want you to do so much better than me. I want you to have so many leads that you are like these people crying, going, I don't know what to do. I have so many. Every time they tell me that, I laugh. Like,
it's great.
Oh, what a problem, you poor baby.
They're like, we feel really bad about that. Now tell us how you really feel. And the thing is that it's like we say that, but we're not joking. Like, it really is one of those things that happens. And so, but I want to put one other little thing into this is we teach the right way for you guys to get the leads, to get the views, to get the things that you need. And we're there to support you through that. But it is a lot of work. Yes. It isn't something that just like is going to happen overnight. You're going to have to put work. But we have had students that started a brand new channel it's been about a year now. And they've got over 11,000 subscribers, over 1 million and something views. And Jen, she's like, I quit worrying about the leads that are coming. And it's more now about like, how do I handle what I've got, and how do I grow what I'm doing? And that's why she said she's did this storytelling process, and her retention is going through the roof because she's truly becoming a student of YouTube and learning the right way to do things.
Yeah, this is great. One of our students says, I'm on overload, but learning so much from this course. Yeah, it's a new way. It's a new way of framing how to do it. It's not there's nothing templated, but we show you how to do the right kind of content for your specific audience. And it is a little bit more work. It's a lot easier if someone tells you what to do than someone actually teaching you what you can do for the rest of your channel, where you won't even need us anymore. this
It's
out.
funny though, they still hang around and be like, hey, what do you think about this?
Yeah, we're always, because everything changes all the time. So, all right. Well, thank you so much, Joe, and everybody in the audience. Next week, we'll be doing this again. If there's anything that you specifically are having problems with your YouTube channel, let us know in that Facebook group, the mastermind group, and we will do a live stream on it next week. If you were too chicken to get a free channel review and you were like, well, you know what, maybe next week, go ahead. There's a form there. You can fill it out anytime during the week, and we'll go ahead and put you on the screen. All right, everybody. So long. Farewell. Avita.
Yeah, it's the end of the stream. Kristina and Joe taught you all the tricks, make your leads grow. From thumbnails to tags, you gotta be bold. YouTube's the key, turn your listings to gold. Edit those vids, make them snappy, make them fly. Engage with your audience, connect, don't be shy. Realtor to the core, but tech on your side. Hit that algorithm like a digital tide. This is the final click, now you're in the know. Use YouTube to flourish, let them listings blow. It's the small details that bring in the dough. From Kristina and Joe, here's the way to go. Every upload strategic so your views ain't stopping. Consistency's key, schedule that drop. Content's king, crown it at the top. So you learn the ropes from two of the best. Kristina and Joe, put your skills to the test. Turn those leads into clients, make your channel explode. Realtor success on the digital road. This is the final click, now you're in the